All right, guys, today we're going to talk about replay and if it's going to be crucial moving forward, as well as one organization that finally got their first no-hitter.
Let's get it started.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 49 of the Beanball Podcast. We are your hosts, Alan and Alan.
What's going on, bud?
Not much, man, other than we got our first game this weekend.
I know. I know y'all pulling double duty, switch the birthday party up to Sunday.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, this is nuts. But you know what's funny is that today the team actually looked a little bit like a team.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Got to get it together. Was today the final practice before the game?
Yes. Well, we might have to throw in another practice because we still don't have uniforms. So we're going to be out there looking like the Bad News Bears.
Uh-oh.
So
or if you're watching Mighty Ducks, the nobodies.
Yeah, the nobodies. Actually, they got pretty dope uniforms. You know what? Our uniforms are actually going to be sunburnt orange. So, yeah. But, yeah, man, today's practice, we basically every kid got to hit off the tee, and every hit they had to run. So it was interesting. We didn't throw anybody out at all. And they got about 5 or 6 hits each. But we are working on people getting the ball and actually throwing it to first. So it's a bunch of yelling like, throw to first, throw the ball, don't hold it, or run, because the kids will hit and just stare at it.
Yeah. Like expected.
I get it.
They're
Right.
young, their first time most likely being on teams.
Look, man, you
stuff.
should see it at this age. So the kids on the team range from 3 to 6, basically. And you got, when they go out there and throw the ball to warm up, you got like a pair of kids in front of the dugout, like where you'd walk into the field, and then you got another kid throwing across them, like so they could hit the ball in midair. And you got another kid over here just running around, and the other kid's throwing it while they're not paying attention. I'm just like, look, let's line up on a line and try to throw. No, that's not happening.
Yeah, of course, we don't remember much playing at that age.
No, not much.
God.
I think the only thing I remember is like running to the bushes to pee.
Yeah, good old, but the summer weather's holding up. Spring break's over. I'm a little slower this week. Got to catch my breath a little bit, but
that's right.
Interesting times. But let's go and get straight into some baseball news. And first thing first, finally, every team has a no-hitter now, with the Padres getting their first no-no on Friday night. And it's a guy that they traded for from the Pirates, and people were like, oh, here's another Pirates player that's gone somewhere else and did good. Joe Musgrove, who grew up rooting for the Padres, threw his first no-hitter in franchise history. And, of course, the 53 season Friday night blanked the Rangers, 9 near-perfect innings with 10 strikeouts and a 3-0 victory at Globe Life Field.
Yeah, pretty impressive, man. Only one batter touched base, I believe.
Yeah, he hit a person.
Exactly. Dude, that's crazy.
That's your one mess-up.
That's
a
nuts.
hit, and it was Joey Gallo. But, he said it's part of it doesn't seem real. It feels like it was meant to be.
He also says it feels like he's still got he's recovering. He said he grinded it out, man. Like it was a grinder.
It was if I believe correctly, I have to think the total. It was 9 innings, 10K, 1 hit by pitch on 112 pitches. 77 of them were strikes.
Right, and 112, isn't too much.
But for
a guy
second start of the season, I believe.
Yeah, and for a guy who probably doesn't go that long very often. Yeah, it was a grind. I imagine it was.
Yeah, because he's like the 4th or 5th starter for them.
I know it's a no-hitter. I'm not taking nothing away from him, but he did play a crappy team. Was it Texas?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's Texas, but still.
Even if they've been better recently, it's like this is a team we're not expecting much from.
Right. And what's funny is that I feel like there's a couple no-hitters that get thrown around, and I felt like for a while they're always getting thrown against the Diamondbacks, I think, or it was a team like that. Like,
yeah.
And I kept saying this because the Diamondbacks were terrible, but it was the same team they kept throwing it against.
Giants, Tim Lincecum pitched both times against the Padres.
Oh, wow.
I think if I remember correctly.
I'm thinking more recently than that. Like there's a
and
couple
the
last couple
Diamondbacks
years.
were
Like it's always against the Diamondbacks for some reason. The last couple of years, anyways.
Yeah.
But nothing to take away from that. Joe Musgrove, great job. Finally got one for the Padres, and like I said, we're excited about that team.
Yeah, and and then something else to go with that no hitter is the catcher, Victor Calapatini, which was traded to them as well from the Cubs.
Wow.
Well, he caught Alec Mills' no-hitter last year, so now he is MLB's 2 most recent no-hitters, but which makes him the first starting catcher in MLB history to catch consecutive no-hitters but for different clubs.
Wow, that is impressive, man.
Yeah.
And the catcher has a lot to do with it too, man. They're the guy calling the game. They're the one who's telling you what pitch they think is good in this moment. So good for him, man.
Yeah,
that's a good.
So two guys that they kind of needed. They wanted a strong catcher. Capriano was kind of they believe that he could be a decent catcher, and now he has 2 no-hitters that he caught under his belt. It's something.
So yeah, that's great. So not only did Joe Musgrove throw a no-hitter, his first and the first for the organization, it seems that the no-hitter is helping his family's business.
Yeah. So this no-hitter turned out just came with a cup of Joe. Fresh off pitching his first no-hitter, Joe Musgrove found his achievement serving a positive effect on his family. The right-hander's parents own and operate a coffee shop in the San Diego suburb of Alpine, California. Padres fans have been flocking since the gym Friday night against Arlington. It's something that the family, for 20 years, a small drive-through in a small town, so nothing crazy business, Musgrove said Tuesday, but the last few days have been some of the best days they've ever had. I really appreciate people coming out and helping the small business, he said.
Which is great. Now they can, like, I can just imagine what they can do with this, because it's crazy. His name is Joe, Cup of Joe, and they can obviously put this together like Joe's no. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? They can come up with some kind of specialty, and they can put his stuff everywhere, and now it'll be a place of interest.
Yeah, just all, like you said, like grew up a Padres fan. He grew up in San Diego. His parents have a coffee shop. That was probably something special, throwing the no for that team.
Yeah,
I bet he wish it was in San Diego. Maybe his parents were there and stuff like that, but at least a lot of fans were there since it was Texas, so they probably had a good chunk of fans at the game compared to what it probably would have been San Diego.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, it was good news. Like, I was like, good, he got it done, and fortunately, like I said, it was damn near perfect. So good for you, Joe. And Pirates, there's another player that you unfortunately traded away and came a little better. We'll see if he has a overall great season or good season.
Or either way, now he's in the history books.
Yep. So we're going to get some injury news. First things first, Seattle loses the pitcher for a season. James Paxton came back to Seattle after being traded to the Yankees a couple years ago. Well, he's have surgery on his left elbow, but did not say it was Tommy John and will be missing the rest of the season. He's 32. He went on the 10-day DL for a forearm strain, but will need surgery after only 24 pitches on his first start in the second inning, leaving the game.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I mean, it's always tough to lose a starting pitcher, but it's kind of like what we saw last year. Last year, in the beginning, we saw a lot of injuries, mostly in spring training, but it still carried over.
Yeah.
Like these pitchers, like Max Fried and all of them, like people were getting injured.
Like what is it? Corey Kluber went first game of the season, and went out second inning and missed the whole season.
Right. So after you saw that happen last year, somebody had to be putting in place what to do in this situation, because it's not like it's uncommon.
Yeah. Well, he missed a good chunk. Well, he was probably going to miss the start of the season, but because of COVID, it worked out for him. Still didn't do well last year. I think still had multiple injuries. I think it was a good chunk of reason why the Yankees didn't bring him back. So good, he went back to Seattle, try to hopefully work on stuff, and unfortunately, it's just not going to work out for him.
Right, and who knows if he's going to come back from this either. Like you said, he's had a strand of injuries and not performing well. Well, this is going to add on top of that, and might not be a name we hear very often moving forward.
Yeah, you think I'm missing a year, then you got to see if someone else want to bring him back for a chance. Most likely, I'm thinking minor league contract.
Kind of like a Matt Harvey situation, possibly. Yeah. Like if you earn your spot, we'll see what happens.
A minor league invite, something like that. So,
but not something we're going to put a lot of interest in.
Nah, it's just unfortunate. You thought this would be a veteran guy that would help out that young organization, the young guys coming up, but now he's not going to be there.
So that's good for them, for the next man to step up. So maybe they have somebody in the organization they've been eyeballing. We'll see. I mean, you bring somebody else in who you weren't thinking about right away, maybe they shine, and maybe it helps out in the long run.
Yeah.
All right, well then with that being said, also another club that lost some players were the Cubs. They lost about 4 players not 4 players. I think it was like 3 players and a coach, or maybe a couple of coaches.
4 players,
was
I
it?
think
Okay.
1 coach, and then they also pulled Kyle Hendrick from the start, just be on the safe side.
Okay. I know they lost a couple of relievers.
Yeah,
like Brandon Workman.
Yeah, so Matt Duffy, infielder. Then we got relievers: Brandon Workman, Jason Adam, and Dan Winkler. And then at least after 2 coaches, first base coach and bullpen coach, tested positive. And then they pulled Kyle Hendrick from his start on Tuesday just to be on the safe side. Pretty much, David Ross said that if none of the players have tested positive, they're just being careful because I guess they're workouts with the coaches.
Yep.
and it's that close contact. If you had a headache, a runny nose, body aches, you just about anything going on in the world, could be COVID symptoms, we're going to do the side of caution, he said Tuesday night, after, I guess, before the game.
Right. And so the biggest takeaway from this is that they're still playing. They're not like shutting anything down. They're not canceling
they're playing
any games.
They're just going to put them on the list.
Exactly.
So, Driver had one shot of the vaccine, but when he tested positive, but Young was fully vaccinated, but has caught the virus. So he believes to be contracted before his second shot. So, a lot of these teams are trying to get the vaccine so they can get that extra rule where 85% of the team is vaccinated.
Yeah.
It eases up the protocols and the contact tracing and stuff. So, unfortunately, it's 3 relievers that, it sucks to lose, and a key infielder for a Cubs team that is not doing well right now. So, losing more players and 2 coaches is not a good look right now.
No, not at all. I mean, it's one of those divisions where they could still make something of it because it's not like there's no team that's going to run away with it right now.
No.
So it's not going to hurt them right this second, but it's not, like you said, it's not a good look.
Yeah.
It could affect them depending on how long these guys are out and depending on what they need because, obviously pitching's huge. And you got pitchers and coaches quarantined, and who knows how far this will spread because we just heard about it now. There could be another breakout within the organization.
Yeah. And then speaking of breakout, just today, Astros have 5 players go on the injured list because of COVID, and the 3 main stars for Astros, Altuve, Bregman, and Carrera, are 3 of the 5. It's like you just lost your infield.
But that also gives an opportunity for another team to start making some moves to get ahead of, break away, like the Angels.
Angels are in the lead by, I think, a game right now in Houston, if I remember correctly.
But this is the time, if any, to take advantage.
Yeah, you think at least, 7 days probably.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's
a whole series. Like
almost, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. And then next, we're going to some Tatis update. And the Padres shortstop went down holding his shoulder. People were, hesitant to see when he was going to miss a large chunk. After all, it looked possibly painful. Announced a partially torn labor, in his left shoulder. People were like, "Oh, that's a while."
That's exactly what I thought at first.
Well, fast forward to April 13th, it seems to be some growing optimism that he could be back sooner rather than later. He's already shown on field drills, batting practice, before Padres games and videos on Tuesdays in Pittsburgh. Again, he took, BP before the game. So it looks encouraging, looks good, said the manager, but no mention of possible date. He can come off this Friday against the Dodgers. There's no need to rush, but if he's good to go, why not?
Right. I mean, there's no need to rush, but from what I understand, he has been taking BP, and they are expecting him to play against the Dodgers. So it's not. So they're saying that there's a great chance that he's going to come out there and play. But I don't know how serious it is, and they're not going to tell us right away.
So what a lot of people believe is, if you looked at his swing, most of his follow throughs, he goes to one hand. During batting practice, he's been doing the 2-hand. They think maybe too much stress on that shoulder going to one hand and the motion that now he's realized he needs to hold 2 hands through.
Yeah, but a player like that, man, I don't know. I mean, I understand. Like, I get it. He's great. But I don't know if I'd be changing his swing. I mean, if as long as his swing's not affected by his follow through at the end, I guess it'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll see. But a guy with natural talent like that, you got to let him rip.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know, man.
Maybe it's something just to hold him over so he can get playing sooner.
Yeah.
And then once he gets more 100%, maybe
okay.
Something like that maybe.
That makes sense. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate, but we'll see. We'll keep it on because that is the first test. This is the series. Everyone circled these dates, Dodgers, Padres, for the whole season. And this is going to be the first test. And if Tatis is back, the light's going to be on real close to him, especially. And, man, if he gets first game back and gets hurt again, then that's going to be a talking point.
It'll be shut it down for sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into some other baseball news, not necessarily related to the current players.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest things right now this week is Yu Chang calling out anti-Asian racist abuse.
Yeah, it came to the spotlight after he shared this on social media after throwing an error and pretty much led to the loss of the White Sox on Monday. He's a Taiwan native. He posted a screenshot of comments received on Twitter alongside with hashtag Stop Asian Hate. One person said, "Fix those slanty eyes so you can show the ball straight." Another person says, "Nice throw, you Asian fucktard." And the other one said, "You fucking SARS coronavirus motherfucker."
Yeah, man, people are so filled with hate these days. It's crazy. Like, anytime I turn on the news, I don't like watching news because it's always about killing, shootings, especially in our hometown, man. There's been a lot of crazy stuff going on that's usually not this
Yeah.
bad. Like, I would, like, when I go to, like, a place like Jersey or something, I turn on the news, I expect to hear a lot of shootings and stuff, which is fine. But when we come back home, it's usually not like this. But every day there's something new.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot more Asian hate going on these days, too.
Like, I remember when they first started popping up, I'm like, what is this Asian hate? And then you think coronavirus. I'm like, is this really a thing? And then you get Jeremy Lin and the NBA.
Jeremy Lin's been a big
I'm like, what is going on? Like, why is this a thing?
Yeah, and it's nuts. I mean, you see videos of like old ladies getting beat and stuff like that, and just people just standing around like, wow, it's really hitting home, man. It's crazy. Like I feel like everybody's been so cooped up that when they get a little bit of freedom, they're just like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
So, Cleveland and Chicago were tied in the bottom of the ninth when King, who's playing first, fielded a grounder and tried to start a double play to throw it to second, but he ended up hitting the runner. It carried away, letting Nick score the winning run. Of course, he signed with the organization, made his debut. He hasn't been playing much at first base, so it's an error throw. His first error in 35 chances while playing first base. But come on, like... Unfortunately, Pete, we're human. We're going to make mistakes. But is it really just something to go off races over one mistake to lose a game that's 162 games in the season? Now, playoff, I understand it'd be a little more frustrating in playoffs, but that still does not be able to get to that level.
Right. It should never get to that level. These guys are playing a game. I mean, you guys need to take it at what it is. It's like errors happen. That's part of the game. That's what, you know what I'm saying? There's no need to take it that far to where...
Yeah.
Think about what you're saying. Like, do you really hear yourself when you say these things?
Like, they already feel bad for letting you down and losing the game. And
right.
that's the last thing. Like,
right.
I remember when we watched the World Series, the Mets, those errors and stuff, like, it hurt. And I can imagine what the players are feeling, the cost in the game.
Exactly.
In World Series. Like, that's a bigger moment to cost and errors instead of a Monday night game against the White Sox.
Exactly. A game that doesn't even mean anything. Like, yeah, when you're talking about that, I'm thinking about like back in 2015 when we weren't even supposed to be there, but we had these games that were locked up, and all of a sudden we can't make plays. We're throwing all these errors, throwing wide. I mean, grounders. I mean, I think the hardest house goes like, come on, man, you got to have that. And it's not. I would not think about taking it to
like. And you think level. Bill Buckner, that simple ground rule.
Exactly.
Like, it happens.
Well,
it's just moments in history, and then this is just disrespectful on so many levels.
I think we just need to be better.
Yeah,
that's all. We just got to do better
as humans,
as a whole.
It don't mean to be racist, like anything. It's like, come on, like we're people. Like I saw this one thing, and it makes more sense how people are canceling genders. I completely agree with this one. Like we should be canceling, what I'm trying to say, not genders, but race.
Mm-hmm.
We're Americans. Just leave it at that. Like, there's no African, that.
The race we are human.
Yeah, we're humans. Like, come on. We're all make mistakes. We're all living it. So, come on. We got to do better.
That's all. Yeah, I mean, that's all we can say about it. That's it. There's nothing left to say but just try to do better. All right, well, let's move on, man.
Well, one person needs to do a little bit better, but he got a little pocket change now. Joe West is getting $500,000 from a former player, and actually, it's a former Met.
Yeah, I was like, when I saw this, I was like, hold on, what's going on here? Paul LaDuca, I mean, he was one of the guys I really liked. Paul LaDuca, he played great for the Mets. He's claiming that Billy Wagner, our best closer, bribed Joe West to expand the strike zone.
Yeah, so
even something about a car.
So yeah, New York Supreme Court awarded the veteran umpire Joe West as part of the
defamation suit
with Paul LaDuca. West originally filed suit back in 2019. And LaDuca said on a podcast that West afforded Billy Wagner a larger strike zone in a game between New York Mets and Phillies because Wagner let him drive his '57 Chevrolet the closer owned. The game in question occurred about 2006, 2007. LaDuca said to visit a mound and said, look, we have a little bit of cushion in terms of the strike zone. Proceeded to strike out 3 batters. Recounted that there 8 out of the 9 pitches were at least 3 to 4 inches or not even close. LaDuca said Wagner explained in the clubhouse that West loved vintage cars, so we made sure to get on West's good side, allow him to drive his Chevy. So, yeah,
I would be more I mean, I would think if anybody's going to bribe anybody to be 3 or 4 inches off the plate, it'd be Angel Hernandez or whatever. But I'm not buying it, man. Billy Wagner, he was a stud. He doesn't need to have the strike zone expanded, even if that was closer to the end of his career. I'm not buying it. Paulo Duca, you're crazy. I mean, maybe I have to go back and see some footage of this, man. I don't know.
Well, yeah. So the plaintiff expressed legitimate concern, and the Hall of Fame voters credited to LaDuca false accusing regarding his eligibility character might not be elected to induction to the Hall of Fame for the same reasons why other players like Shoeless Joe Jackson, Pete Rose, Barry Bonds have not been elected, the judges wrote. So pretty much it's saying, like, trying to discredit him, that he could possibly hurt him getting to the Hall of Fame and stuff, so that's why he did win the lawsuit. He is the longest tenured umpire in MLB history.
Right.
When he passed an all-time 2018 with Nightingale, knowing that he's on track to take the all-time record this May.
Okay, cool.
And Joe West, he was actually the umpire for I think I remember correctly, the first game of the doubleheader of the Phillies and Mets yesterday.
Okay.
He missed about 4 or 5 pitches, about 3 to 4 inches on the outside a couple times. So it's just Joe being Joe and maybe Billy. But the thing is, there's no game that Joe was the umpire between those 2 years that Billy pitched in. So that's where also it's coming out to where, like, what game are you talking about?
Right. So
if those 2 are the years, there's no game that happened.
And I'm just wondering, like, why is Paulo Duca hating so much, especially on Billy Wagner? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's insane. So we're going to take a quick break and be right back with some more baseball news.
All right, and moving on. The other day, the Mets and Marlins game.
Man, that's an understatement with this game, man.
Right.
I remember turning on, I'm like, oh, we're playing this?
Yeah, it's raining, and they're like, all right, let's go ahead and throw it. So Stroman had a lot to say about that.
Oh, yeah. Sunday afternoon series finale between the Mets and Marlins, of course, was the rubber match. They both won the first 2 games, but the game was suspended to the rain, just 9 pitches. The teams took the diamond right before the game. The 2-hour rain delay that eventually got suspended. Well, Stroman started the game while it was raining and allowed just 1 hit, recorded an out before the outing was cut short. That's an understatement. I was watching the game. I'm like, and it was getting heavier. I'm like, yeah, this is getting ridiculous.
So,
and Stroman was taking his time.
I would too.
Kind of like looking at the umps like,
are we still doing
this?
this?
And then he was like, I guess we're throwing it. And he kept throwing balls because they're getting wet. It was starting to get heavier.
So Stroman said the game should have never even been started. And I agree, because if you're in there, Stroman's throwing, he only threw 9 pitches before this game got canceled. Well, who is looking at the radar? Who's looking at this? Like, who thought it was okay to go ahead and play this game?
Yeah, so Sherman said the game should never been played. It's not smart at all. Wrote in a tweet. Those conditions put everyone at risk. Beyond happy that no player on either side was injured. Hate that I have to wait another 5 days to pitch again. That's a miserable feeling, but however, let's go Mets. Mets manager Luis told reporters the cancellation that the decision to start Sunday's game for the time was a collaborative one made by both himself and Mets front office. The forecast said lighter rain to miss like rain, so the decision was to go for it. Obviously, it didn't turn out to be light rain. It was more steady, heavier than what the forecast said. A wrong decision, but we decided based on what we are anticipating. But I forgot. I think I was watching the game, and I think who was it on SNY said they asked someone at the Masters. They took to the radar like, oh yeah, that game's not getting played, and was shocked when they started, but then got suspended within 10 minutes.
Nuts.
Yeah, like real quick, you saw the infield getting real shiny, which that is no good.
Exactly.
I'm
Never
like,
good.
when are you gonna do this? I'm like, just go ahead and suspend this so I can go turn this game to something else. And then sure enough, they did, and I turned it away. I'm like, because this was no point of this game to start. And it's ridiculous. Gotta do better.
Yeah.
Well, Diamondbacks Tim Locastro set a MLB record.
Yeah, I mean, he set a record. Okay, these guys. I think it was funny because the other day I was watching the game, the doubleheader last night, I believe.
Yeah.
Tim Kirchin, I think, was calling it. Maybe not. It could have been somebody else. But he was basically saying, "Oh, here's a record. The Mets had a starter who started the game wearing the number 99, and then the very next game the pitcher started wearing the number 0. That's never happened before. I was like, who cares? And he's like, and he even said, I think I'm the only one who cares about this. I was like, yeah. But going back to this record, this guy had 28 career stolen bases, and the record is because he has 28 career stolen bases without being caught.
Yep.
Right.
to start his career.
It's cool, but I mean, how long has it taken him to get 28? It's not like this season he's got 28, right?
No.
Yeah.
So, the record for 27 to start your season was Tim Raines stole 27 in a row from
Tim Raines.
79 to 81. Record was successfully stolen. Base Tims have been kept since 51. So we don't know about prior to 51, but, he broke a record. He made his debut back in 2017 for the Dodgers. Since then, he's gone 28 for 28 on stolen base attempts. Marks his 28 stolen base. Of course, he beat the record. So
how many stolen bases does he have this year? Do we know?
It's 3 or 4.
That's what I'm saying. This isn't that impressive to me.
Yeah.
That's like Big Papi getting 28 stolen bases without getting caught because he never does it. So when he does it, you're like, whoa, and you're not throwing him out. I'm just saying, like, if this guy was one of those guys who's got like 40 stolen bases or something a year and started out like, just because he's so fast and they're not like getting him out, I don't know. It's just not as impressive as they're making it seem.
Yeah, but, send his cleats award to the Baseball Hall of Fame. You see him to be put up. Obviously, you want to get to Cooperstown, he said.
That's one way to do it.
It's a dream about a kid winning a World Series, getting to Cooperstown, but so having my cleats there will be unfathomable to me.
Well, that's cool. That's a cool thing. That's one way to get there, but, you got to do better, though.
And then also after the game, he gave his mom the base that he stole after the game. So there's that.
Well, that's cool.
So
that's like $1,000 on.
Cleats went to and then that base is going
well, that's
home.
cool. I mean, that is a cool suggestion or thing they did there.
Yeah. So it's really nice. Glad that they gave. Well, that's makes at least they gave it to him, and he decided to give it to his mom. So
all right,
let's get into this hot topic.
Yeah, let's get into some
Very
better
hot
topics.
topic.
So let's talk about the Sunday night Phillies-Braves ending. I'm sure you've heard about this so far.
Yes.
Controversial ending at the plate. Well, not ending. It was the top of the ninth, I think.
Yeah,
but still, game changer. Yes.
Yeah. So, the lost replay challenge by the Atlanta Braves in the ninth inning is what changed the outcome for the Phillies to win 7-6. So let's give you a brief. We started at the top of the ninth. Teams are both tied at 6-6. Bowman led off with a double. Then Gene Segura hit a ground ball to second, allowing Bowman to reach third. Then DJ Gregorius hit a shallow fly ball to left field off of Braves reliever Will Smith. Ozuna camped under it, threw a two-hopper to the plate, slide to the third base side. Darno caught it, slide forward. Bowman with his left foot got to the plate. Well, of course, close play like that, it's going to get replayed. And as replay started showing the stadium, it looked clearly that he missed the base.
I mean, it looks like it, but at the beginning of the play, when the ump saw it, it's bang, bang play. He called it. It is what it is. But we go to the replay. And I would assume, like the NFL replay, we'd have multiple angles.
Especially being a primetime game.
That's right.
ESPN. And apparently they had 5 angles for this home plate.
Well, they didn't show me those angles.
They showed 3.
The angle that I saw, it looked like he missed the plate. It looked like Darno pushed him off of it and his foot never touched the plate. But the angle they kept referring to was one that was shot from the back end, kind of like from the bullpen or maybe the dugout facing forward to the catcher's mound or the home plate. And it showed that potentially his toes or his spikes. Yeah, they could have been on the plate. So there wasn't enough refutable evidence to reverse the play as it was called. And I get that from based off of what I saw. But if they had more camera angles, we should have at least seen one that clearly showed what happened.
Because isn't there some games where you can see right in front of the home plate?
Yeah. No, I guess it depends on angle.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I'm thinking of more like home run derby. But no, there are ones with better angles, I think. And I feel like if you're going to have this as a replay, and this is a situation that just happened, you got to have more angles. You got to be able to see the plate.
Yeah.
There's no excuses for that.
Why isn't there a camera hanging above the home plate?
And that could happen.
Straight down.
Right. Or at least multiple angles from the side.
And then, of course, after it came out that he was safe, the Braves manager came out, and he didn't get tossed, but he clearly said, I know this is not your doing, but come on. If everyone in the stadium, you can see on the Jumbotron that he clearly looks like he missed. And, he's like, I understand it's not y'all, but New York needs to do better.
But it goes back to, like, they're taking, like, the football route where you have to have evidence that clearly shows this was not the way they called it.
Yep.
And that's what happened.
Yep. The official ruling from MLB stated that there could not be definitive determination that the runner failed to touch home plate prior to the fielder applying the tag.
Exactly.
So initially, I don't know if he was safe or not, but watching the replay, it looked like a foot did not touch the bag from the angle we saw, Darno said. I thought he was clearly out at the plate. Some players around the league agreed, like Justin Turner and Mike Trout.
Oh, yeah, Mike Trout definitely did.
Justin Turner said, absolutely brutal. Saw 2 angles that clearly looked like he never touched the plate. We get that call stands. I'm with everyone else, this point of replay, what's the point of replay?
Yeah.
And then Will Meadowbrook said, how do you watch that replay and say he's safe? Haha, this is a joke. And Mike Trout said, so bad, with a laughing emoji.
And I get it, though. I mean, I get it from their point, because my point of view, when I saw it, I was like, he didn't touch home plate. He's out.
Yeah.
Darno clearly moved him enough to where he wasn't in line to get any part of that plate.
And the biggest thing is, like, when his foot finally planted, it was about 3-4 inches away from home plate.
But at the same time, I completely get the replay call, because you don't see enough of the plate to say he didn't touch it.
Yeah.
But in my mind, in my gut, everything's telling me he's out.
Yeah.
But the replay, if that's the rules, I got to go with the rules.
Can you? Yeah, it's like, but like literally, like, can you tell the actual toe or or thing touched it?
But since he called him safe originally, you can't say he didn't.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean,
It's
you can't.
unfortunate.
We know he didn't touch it, but from those replay angles, you can't determine without a doubt.
And then my biggest thing, like, especially when they zoom in and stuff, is like, okay, look, we're in technology now where there's 8K, 12K cameras.
Yeah.
You're telling me we can't have better cameras on these home plates
They should.
to be able to see clearly
Reminds me, yes.
why we cannot see this bang plays.
Yeah, this reminds me of the Super Bowl at the end of it. Not during the Super Bowl, but at the end of it, when everybody's celebrating, they had these really fancy cameras.
This year they got the aperture where they're nice and crisp.
Great. They needed that
Yes.
to take a look at this. You should be able to do some kind. I don't know. I don't think he touched it.
Yeah.
But we can't do nothing about it now, because those are the rules, and they did play it by the rule book. So I can't be mad at them for that. I can just be mad that initially got the play called wrong.
Yeah, and
that's
unfortunately, I think if I remember correctly, it caused the Braves not to take advantage and sweep the Philly, because they would have swept them. I think they ended up still winning the series 2-1, but
right,
it could have got them back.
Right. I mean, if they ever go back and challenge it again, they better go back and do my man Armando Galarraga better too.
Yeah. So, and speaking of a hot team, man, you go from getting swept on opening weekend to winning 7 straight.
Yeah. I mean, they've played 10 games and they're 7-3. The Red Sox. Red Sox have been doing it. They've been doing it pretty good too, and they're in a tough division. So this is a good time to get going.
Yeah, I forgot to check before coming over because they were supposed to do a day game, but I don't know if it got called or not. They end up winning the first game 3-2. Oh, both games. So we're now at a 9-game winning streak. So they won 7-1.
That's a great way to
against
start
the
out,
Twins, man. And then 3-2 in the other double, because they did a doubleheader because they got rained out.
Wow.
No, they didn't get rained out. It was because of the shooting Sunday. They postponed the game Monday. Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah, baseball was not important at that point.
Baseball, basketball,
everything.
They just paused everything. So yeah, that's right. They had to do a doubleheader today.
But yeah, man, what a time to be on the Red Sox.
Yeah, so get swept by the Orioles. Then
Orioles.
Yeah.
Yes, you start out getting swept by the Orioles.
Yeah, but then since then you have now swept the Rays. You swept the Orioles for their home opener, and then now you took the first 3 out of the 4 games against the Twins. That's a decent streak to get on.
Yeah, man.
And the biggest thing is JD Martinez is hitting the ball very well.
Yes,
Other guys are coming up. Pitchers are still, and some of the games they're blowing people out. Some people they're getting close games. So the bats are finally coming back alive after that opening weekend series. And they are clearly running with this division after Yankees are not there. Blue Jays, I think, end up winning again today against the Yankees. So I think correctly, Yankees are in last place right now in the AL East.
Luckily for them that they're the Yankees.
Yeah,
they can turn it around.
They're not playing Yankee ball right now. You're thinking, home runs.
Yeah, you're thinking
that they're a very quiet team right now.
Yeah, which is weird. It's not like them, and it's weird that the Red Sox are doing so well.
So Red Sox are 9-3. Toronto's 6-6. Baltimore's 5-6 currently. Tampa Bay's 5-6, and now Yankees is 5-7, 4 games out in last place.
That's okay. It's still early.
It's still early, but man,
yeah. From our guesses of what's going to happen,
the AL favorite
exactly.
is in the last place of the division
it's
currently
nuts.
after almost 2 weeks of baseball.
The clear favorite too.
Yeah.
It's crazy. All right, man. I mean,
Dude.
yeah, we're gonna have to keep an eye on these Red Sox, see what they can do.
Yeah, because at first, opening series,
Can they
we
keep it
thought
up?
they were going to be bad, possibly, and they got swept by the Orioles. Okay. And then they just, I don't know, they got embarrassed with their worst start ever, and they just they cranked it up.
They turned it up, man.
They flicked the switch, man.
Well, speaking of turning it up, let's get into the players of the week.
Our players of the week. So we go American League and National League. We're going to start with the American League. Alan, who do you have for your player of the week?
obviously I got a guy who's been helping his team win 9 straight. JD Martinez.
Yeah.
I can't not pick this guy.
Yeah, my player of the week last week, he had a great start. Even though they got swept, he was the one-man wrecking crew that first opening series and got better. He hasn't stopped, like we just talked about.
So looking at his stats, I mean, he's the 25th player in Red Sox history to hit 3 home runs in a game in their win over the Orioles Sunday. But he also...
It's his third team, correctly, with 3 home runs in a game.
Was that? I'm saying he's the 25th player in Red Sox history to hit 3 home runs in a game.
His third team.
His third team. Oh, wow.
He's done it 3 times with 3 different teams.
Well, anyways, he has 8 runs scored, 11 hits, 4 doubles, 4 home runs, 13 RBIs. He had an extra base hit in each of his first 8 games this season, which is tied for the longest streak to start a season. And his 12 extra base hits this season are the most ever by an AL player in their first 8 games. Look, this dude's on fire.
Yeah.
And if he slows down, it's going to be bad for the team. But if he heats up and he gets everybody else around him to heat up, we could be talking about a San Diego Padres kind of situation.
Yeah, like the biggest thing in question, like we always talk about as Red Sox, is the pitching. Chris Sale's going to come back sometime this year. And there's other guys, you're just like, who are these guys? But if anyone can get this team, they did get their manager back after missing a year, after, let him go, after getting the suspension.
Yep.
This team has came together. A bunch of young guys. He's now the veteran on the team. After Pedroia finally retired.
It reminds me of the veteran for the Padres last year. Who was it? Who was carrying him for a lot of the time? We talked about MVP.
Machado.
Yeah. Or was it Machado or somebody else?
And then what's his name?
Unless it was for the White Sox. It was for one of those 2 teams. Older veteran guy. He was just crushing it most of the year. It was an MVP race. I thought he was not Machado. Was another guy though. Anyways, JD Martinez is putting it together.
Yeah, he is. So I didn't want to do JD two weeks in a row for me, and this guy has almost helped carry this team as well. Byron Bucksman of the Twins.
Oh yeah, dude.
In his last 7 games, he has 13 hits, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, batting .520. This is a guy that was former number 1 prospect. Everyone, started like this could be a Mike Trout guy. Unfortunately, injuries and stuff started happening. The bat wasn't working. He's always been a great center fielder defensively.
Yep.
So far this year, he had a good year last year. He's putting together again to start the season. I think he's tied for second for home runs at 5 so far this year.
Were we just talking about him not too long ago, saying how we thought he was one of the guys we liked early and he wasn't really breaking out, and now all of a sudden he's crushing it.
He could possibly I just want him to finally make that
what
move. It's like. And if they don't do nothing with the Twins, this would be a guy I wouldn't mind signing because
exactly
his defense and he has the potential to be
there.
that star.
Absolutely.
And hopefully he puts it together this year.
The guy I was thinking of was Jose Abreu, by the way.
Okay.
So it was the White Sox.
Yeah.
I just know there's a veteran guy who was keeping that team hot,
Brady,
man.
Yeah. All right, so the National League Player of the Week for us, I will go ahead and start with mine, Acuna.
Oh, okay.
I
Acuna, okay.
Other than Acuna, the Braves have not been hitting well, but Acuna has been put up numbers where you look like, this is definitely an MVP guy. You're talking Mike Trout, his speed, little infield hits that he's getting on base for. It's just unreal.
And this is what we expect from him.
Yeah. In his last 7 games, he's got 14 hits, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, and he's even looking the ball well. He has 5 walks and batting .560 in those 7 games. That's ridiculous. And you got to do that, especially when your team's slumping.
Yeah.
If you're stepping up, and everyone looks at Acuna, man, he's stepping up very well for the Braves.
All right.
So who do you have for your National League Player of the Week?
Well, the guy I have should be a no-brainer. I got the new face of coffee, Joe Musgrove, with the no-no. You got to go with the no-no, man. I mean, it's the first in their history of Padres organization. Got to give it to you, Joe.
Yeah.
Good job, bud.
Yeah. Especially going from one of the worst teams in baseball to one of the best in a trade where you're looking at you're probably the 5th starter next year once they get Clevenger back, between Blake Snell, Darvish.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this guy. So this guy, so far in 2021, he's 2-0 with a .47 ERA.
Yeah.
He's doing his thing. If he can keep this up, I don't know, man. He might be something to look out for.
And if he does work well, it's like, man, now Pirates have traded Musgrove away, but also you think about in Tampa Bay, what's his name? There's ace now since they traded away Glasnow.
Okay, Tyler Glasnow.
They gave up on him. They traded him, and now he's become an all-star. It's like, I feel it's like, man, Pirates, you just make players and
know.
just trade them. Like
I know, so bad, man.
It's like, man, like, can you all like keep some people?
If they could, yeah, if they could just keep a couple
like
people.
they're young guys. Hopefully, they did trade, get some picks, and they're building together. Hopefully, in a year or two. But the young core of Pirates, they're getting there, especially the hitters. But man, that's got to hurt a little bit. All right, so final thoughts. First thing we can talk about is the new rules that the Atlantic League is going to test out for MLB in the second half of the season.
Man. The one rule that really catches my eye is moving the pitcher's mound a foot back.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So instead of you're 60 feet and 6 inches, you're 61 feet and 6 inches.
And I feel bad for the players who are the test dummies because they're trying to compete and they want to move on. But now you're throwing a whole monkey wrench in their game. You're moving them back a whole foot.
And especially it's only through the second half of the season. So the first half it's going to be regular.
Exactly.
And then the second half we're going to move it back and see how the numbers change.
And I guarantee these numbers will change in favor of the batter.
Yeah, because if you think about it, a foot, and a lot of people think, like, if you're throwing 93, 94, that becomes a 91, 92 fastball.
Yeah, you're throwing 100 miles an hour. Well, now they have this much more time to react.
You're talking about it might be more of a 97 now.
Exactly.
So
which in my mind is going to bring it back to when we were rooting for like Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa and those guys who were hitting bombs, because it's going to be more like that kind of gameplay, I think.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have more time to see what they're seeing.
A split second more.
Yeah.
And I think what MLB wants to do where velocity is out of control. A lot of people, like, everyone's pitching damn near
unless
100.
you're throwing the ephus like Greinke.
Yeah,
in the fifth inning.
Yeah.
But yes, and we've been saying it, man. It started out with the Mets. Like in 2015, we had a lot of flamethrowers.
Yeah.
A lot of guys that could touch 100. But nowadays, we fast forward to 6 years, and a lot of guys are throwing 100 daily.
It's not nothing different now. It's this guy throws 100, 102.
You got a guy not throwing that. That guy has really good control.
Yeah.
Or they're not up there.
Yeah, and then I know I was listening to the game on the way over here. They asked, because they talked about, because this is breaking news earlier, they asked Preffery, our pitching coach, like, what do you think about it? It's like, yes, velocity's going to come back a little bit, but you think about that gives it more time for the baseball to move now.
Oh, that's true.
So if you're talking about
if
slider,
you got some nasty stuff,
yeah,
maybe the Japanese pitchers just have some of these.
So you got
crazy...
some more movement time. So you have to adjust your sliders and stuff. When they're going to break more. Because the extra foot, it's going to take a while to adjust it.
What I'm thinking is maybe now we'll finally see some more pitches coming into play, like a fork ball,
yeah,
or balls or screw balls, or things that we haven't seen recently. All we see now, pitchers, they either have a fast curve, slow curve, slider, change up, fastball, four seam, two seam. We're not seeing screw balls. We're not seeing ephus. We're not seeing fork balls. We're not seeing the knucklers or anything. But yeah, this would be crazy.
Yeah, because at first they were thinking about doing it 2 feet at first, or even 3 feet.
That's
but
crazy.
They're like, no, let's just go foot, see what the difference is. Let's go with this year.
Bro, if they put it in 2 or 3 feet, I'm out there hitting home runs. Come on, man. A foot is a great start.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect starting point if you want to make any changes. I forgot who said. They said they like when they changed the mound from 10 inches tall to 8 inches tall, that made a big difference.
Yeah, the angles.
Yeah, so now you're thinking a foot, that's going to be a couple miles an hour, give the ball the movement. It's going to be very interesting to see what the stats are going to be after this.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, unless you got some filthy stuff, you can't just be out there being a flamethrower. Because if you're just a flamethrower who throws on a line, the batter's going to take advantage of that real quick.
And unfortunately, it's in the league where these are going to be very young players. So it's where their control might not be there yet. And you're just
that's true.
In the middle of the season, so when are they going to start practicing throwing for these mounds? Because if I'm assuming it's going to be All-Star break. All right, look, next week we're adding a foot, so go and step back a couple inches and start seeing what it's going to feel like.
Luckily, these guys throw fast enough to where it's still going to get to the plate.
Yeah,
but you're right; it's going to be slightly off.
Yeah.
Like if they have movement, it could go out of the strike zone.
Controls are going to be like where a lot of people probably walk the first couple weeks.
You got pitchers who are specialized throwing in the dirt on some pitches. Well, now you're going to be bouncing it
before. Yeah.
So you're right. They got to have. It's going to be a learning curve.
Yeah, it definitely will be. And then the other rule is very kind of interesting also to me. So they said the new DH rule. I'm like, what, they're going to do a universal DH? I'm like, what the rule? And then I read, I'm like, huh. So there will be a DH. Once your starting pitcher is pulled, you're going to lose the DH. So I guess I haven't really looked into too much. Is that so there's going to be only 8 batters in? Or is the pitcher
got to hit after
or
that?
You're going to have to do pinch hit a new person every.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that because I feel like most of the starting pitchers can rake versus the bullpen guys. So you're telling me you're going to have a DH for the starting pitcher, but then when you pull the starter out, the pitchers after him have to hit for themselves? That doesn't make much sense to me.
Yeah, I was like, I don't understand. Like, we mean pulled. Like, you just lose them. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. All right, the DH rule is be known as the double hook rule because the DH removes from the game at the same time the starter pitcher will be affected entire of the whole season, but will change the mound different in the second half. That's all it says.
Well, I'm sure we'll hear more about it once it comes time. Plus, they're doing this in the Atlantic League? So
yeah, so this is the league that's testing out the robo-ump.
Oh, okay. Oh, man, I feel bad for these guys. They're getting all the tests.
Yeah, so...
That's kind of... As a player, I guarantee they're not happy about this. They're like, what's going on here? This is a circus. We're trying to play ball.
Yeah, it says it will be pulled, removed from the game. So it means, yeah, I guess there's only going to be 8 batters then. It said the DH will be removed from the game.
They're going to have somebody. They're not going to let 8 batters. Look, that doesn't make sense to me either because that's an advantage.
Yeah.
If you had 8 guys who could rake and you just like, all right, I'm going to start this. I'm going to have the starter, like the guy comes in, throws like the first 2 innings and then leaves, and then when you pull him out, now you got 8 guys who can rake, and you got to worry about the pitcher.
Yeah, say if your starting pitcher only goes 2 innings.
That's what I'm saying.
Then you got to pitch hit the whole rest of the game, a DH spot.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I get some more clarity about that one.
Yeah, so we don't have too much now for you guys. We're gonna have to learn this one as well as you.
Yeah, Atlantic League's always been the test, but robo umps I was fine with testing. Yes, they probably should test the extending the mound back a foot, but
that's still a lot.
The DH I think is a little much for this. That's what I was going like. We mean DH rule. I'm like, what universal? We've been trying to get that. I'm like, but when I was like, pull the DH, I'm like,
yeah.
Very interesting.
Well, I am interested to see the foot back to see how that affects everything. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but believe me, it really is.
Yeah.
Because you got guys who can't keep up with a 100-mile-an-hour ball. Now, all of a sudden, they're on top of it. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
all right.
Definitely.
I think that's all we got for today.
Yeah, it's unfortunately, as Mets fans, like this team, I feel like cannot get it in like a groove because of rainouts.
Yeah.
2 rainouts,
Corona.
A whole Corona series, and then now there's a threat of more rain tomorrow.
And you got to pretty much somewhat of a new team.
Yeah.
You got to get chemistry.
And then they're going to fly to Colorado, which they're calling for first 2 days in Colorado, cold and snow showers.
That's all right. Hopefully it doesn't make our team tougher.
I'm just like, is our team going to get a break? I'm like, snow showers? And I looked at the forecast, it says 2 inches.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm like, baseball, God, I love Colorado. But yeah, I think that's all we have for this week. We'll definitely see you next week on the show. And if you like this, please like, share, and subscribe. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.